Past Paradise is your go-to channel for top entertaining moments. Today's episode explores the most memorable and embarrassing talk show situations that left viewers and hosts speechless. These live television incidents went viral overnight, from surprising admissions and spontaneous performances to guest conflicts and on-air bloopers. Relive the astonishment, joyful, and cringe-worthy moments no one anticipated coming, including some of the greatest personalities in the business, showing how live TV's unpredictability can rise to classic moments. Relax and enjoy as we count down the most embarrassing talk show moments that have shaped pop culture. Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon's feud. One of the longest-running feuds in talk show history is between Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon. When Kimmel began concluding his shows with the words, "We ran out of time," our apologies to Matt Damon. Damon realized this, and the two got into a no-holds-barred feud that couldn't even be worked out with the couple's therapy. Once, when Kimmel was trying to get Damon to take over his part in The Bourne Ultimatum, he took over Kimmel's program and held him hostage. The participation of other celebrities, such as Sarah Silverman, increased its epicness. Madonna's profanity. Few people have the same iconic and honest appeal as Madonna. Anything is conceivable in her presence. Her 14 F-bomb drops during her appearances on The Late Show with David Letterman were a clear demonstration of this. Thus, the interview was the most heavily edited interview ever. The audience found it impossible to discern whether the two liked or loathed one another because of the frank statements that characterized the conversation. Madonna even admitted to Letterman that the Knicks' absence from the game was the main reason she was there. Ariana Grande gets a piggyback ride. Starbucks workers likely saw a lot of strange stuff in their line of work. Even yet, it's likely that they were unprepared for James Cordon riding Ariana Grande like a python. When Cordon stopped with well-known singer Ariana Grande at Starbucks for coffee on one carpool karaoke episode, he agreed to carry her on his back as part of the transaction. Workers began recording everything on their phones while they were still in shock. "Hello, I'm Ariana Grande. I must be carried," the singer remarked composedly as she ordered a large soy latte. Nicole Kidman's crush on Jimmy Fallon. Who would have thought that famous people, like the rest of us, had ordinary, embarrassing dating stories? Consider Oscar-winning actress Nicole Kidman and talk show presenter Jimmy Fallon. The two related their accounts of how they first met in an appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Kidman developed a crush on him and believed they were going on a date, much to Fallon's dismay. Fallon only discovered during the interview that Kidman wasn't interested in him, contrary to his first belief. It was both very adorable and humiliating. Drew Barrymore flashes David Letterman. Drew Barrymore rose to prominence in romantic comedies, but Barrymore also has a wild side that she doesn't mind showing off, even when she appears on TV. This is best shown by Barrymore's famous skit from The Late Show with David Letterman. She offered to do a dance routine for the host while talking to Letterman about a recent trip to a club. Abruptly jumping onto the table, the actress began to dance before revealing her blouse. Courtney Love attempted to imitate the prank, but with much less success since it had become so famous. Tom Hanks ends up soaking wet. Like other talk show guests, Tom Hanks enjoys dressing up for his interviews. It turned out, however, to be a grave error to wear one of his suits to a water park encounter with Conan O'Brien. Hanks was drenched by a large whale that emerged from the sea. He and the other person were having a conversation and watching whales. O'Brien, naturally, did not get wet. Tom Hanks was a terrific sport. He laughed along with the prank, dousing himself with water from his cup and carrying on as if nothing had occurred. Harrison Ford dislikes Chewbacca. Harrison Ford is known for being offended by inquiries about the venerable Star Wars saga. That's why it shouldn't have come as a surprise when Jimmy Kimmel accepted queries from the public as long as they didn't mention the series at all. Being Kimmel, he capitalized on the situation by dressing up other audience members like Star Wars characters. One individual who made characteristic growling noises while dressed as Chewbacca was among them. How did he get in here? An irate Ford demanded of Kimmel before yelling at him to choose a side and leave. Ford and Chewbacca seem involved in an unresolved conflict related to Ford's wife. Conan O'Brien's revenge. NBC's decision to return The Tonight Show to Jay Leno after Conan O'Brien changed his mind about quitting the program is considered one of history's greatest talk show scandals. This gave rise to the greatest television retribution stories ever. In his farewell show, O'Brien blew $1.5 million of the network's money in retaliation for casting him. This included purchasing a Bugatti Veyron dressed as a mouse and performing the Rolling Stones song Satisfaction, the priciest song to play live. The odd interview with Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix has been in some fairly strange interviews throughout his career, but nothing quite matches his performance on David Letterman's Late Show. Dressed as a character from his film I'm Still Here, Phoenix planned to play the part the whole time. Letterman didn't hold back when the whole thing went viral at one point. Phoenix subsequently acknowledged that he had stepped over the line and apologized. He chastised the actor for chewing gum throughout the interview, questioned him about his time with the Unabomber, and finally finished the piece by stating, "Joaquin, I'm sorry you couldn't be here tonight." Adele breaks the internet. James Cordon welcomed well-known celebrities on his carpool karaoke show, such as Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, and Elton John. However, the title of most adored visitor in this well-liked program goes to British music sensation Adele. Fans' favorites, Someone Like You and All I Ask, followed Cordon's reference to Adele's massive smash Hello at the beginning of the program. But it wasn't only the songs that went viral. Her vivacious nature and big monster rap capped it off. Marlon Brando gives Larry King a peck on the lips. Actor legend Marlon Brando was well known for seldom accepting interviews. Larry King was one of the fortunate few who had the opportunity to interview him. King was permitted to visit Brando at home to promote his book, Songs My Mother Taught Me. The conversation revealed a side of the two-time Academy Award winner that is seldom seen. The two were having so much fun that they sang Got a Date with an Angel together and kissed each other. Though uncomfortable, it remains one of the most iconic scenes in TV history. Cheers to Cheers. Following the conclusion of its 11-season run and the release of its last episode, the cast of the hit American comedy Cheers chose to celebrate by heading to a neighborhood pub in Boston. It's reasonable to assume that Jay Leno attended a decent party when he accepted their invitation to interview. Most of the actors, who had been there for a while, were inebriated. Nothing could have prepared Leno for this crazy evening since it was a live performance. This was another first, a celebrity becoming intoxicated on a late-night program. Andy Kaufman getting slapped by Jerry Lawler. Nothing could have prepared David Letterman for wrestlers Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman, even if he is the master of difficult interviews. Kaufman was sporting a neck brace after an injury he sustained during his battle against Lawler, and it was an intense evening. Kaufman demanded an apology from the other wrestler for pushing too hard, but Lawler just made fun of him. Kaufman fell out of his chair when he hit him as well. Kaufman got up and hurled coffee over Letterman's desk at Lawler. Nobody can yet say with certainty whether this was staged or not. Jimmy Kimmel dresses up as Jay Leno. It's no secret that Conan O'Brien was mistreated by NBC. Following Jay Leno's retirement, O'Brien took over hosting The Tonight Show and performed well. He did, however, stop hosting when Leno decided to go back. O'Brien was left with nothing, but he presumably felt better after hearing from his fellow talk show hosts that they were rooting for him. Jimmy Kimmel dressed up as Jay Leno with a complete wig and a huge fake chin to express his unhappiness with NBC's decision. It's not apparent why Kimmel got so fired up, but it was still funny. Emma Stone crushed lip sync battle. Celebrities like Paul Rudd, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Will Ferrell amazed us with their lip sync battle performances on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Nevertheless, we're certain that Emma Stone, the actress in La La Land, had the best performance. Stone chose to do a lip sync to Hook by Blues Traveler and All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled to show off her best moves throughout her performance. Fallon's lip sync performances of Iggy Azalea's Fancy and Styx's Mr. Roboto were embarrassing compared to her performance of Ludacris's rap verse on the latter. James Corden couldn't name two cameramen. Even though talk show presenters don't often interview one another, Jimmy Kimmel and James Corden got together in front of the camera for the Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts game. But now Corden probably wishes he hadn't. The game's object is to pose the most humiliating question to the visitor, who must either answer it or eat something disgusting. Following some back and forth, Kimmel asked Corden to identify at least two cameramen in the room, which utterly astonished Corden. Because he really couldn't do it, Corden looked quite foolish. Rihanna wakes Jimmy Kimmel up. It should be no surprise that Jimmy Kimmel was the victim of one of his well-known practical jokes. None other than Rihanna was the offender. He needed time to collect himself when Rihanna, escorted by Kimmel's wife, barged into his bedroom early in the morning with a suitcase full of dollar notes, glitzy lights, and a loud rendition of "Bitch Better Have My Money." Angie Harmon and Jason Sehorn getting engaged. Actress Angie Harmon was unaware that her boyfriend, Jason Sehorn, would ask her to marry him when she appeared on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Leno questioned the actress about her partner while maintaining her composure, but Harmon steered clear of discussing her romantic history. Sehorn, a former cornerback for the New York Giants, entered the stage and dropped to one knee as Leno said his name. When he asked, Harmon naturally replied in the affirmative. Her father was also there to see and rejoice in the whole event. Kevin Hart is not an animal guy. One of Hollywood's funniest men, Kevin Hart, never fails to make an impression on talk programs with his amusing antics, even if he doesn't mean to. This is the reality. Jimmy Fallon once chose to bring Hart on stage with Robert Irwin, despite Hart's lack of affinity for animals. Irwin brought over some animals, instantly making Hart lean out of the seat and maintain his distance as Fallon played with them. Much laughter came from the crowd when Hart was persuaded to participate in the prank, but remained afraid and uneasy. Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake teach history of rap. One of the best entertainment friendships is between Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake. The two have collaborated on several projects, including the hugely successful History of Rap, in addition to having a strong personal relationship. They sang popular songs, including Soulja Boy's Tell 'Em Crank That, Kanye West's Gold Digger, and our personal favorite, Missy Elliott's Work It, as part of the skit. The two had so much fun doing this that they repeated it 5 more times. What a fantastic link. Craig Ferguson nails the U.S. citizenship test. Born and raised in Glasgow, Scotland, Craig Ferguson is a comedian and TV personality. After 20 years of residency in the country, he chose to seek citizenship. And you know what? He was accepted. He received a perfect score of 100% and answered every question accurately. The procedure was shown on Craig Ferguson's talk program, The Late Late Program, which only enhanced the experience. His sharp humor and fast thinking astounded the crowd. What a fantastic accomplishment from a patriotic American. Jimmy Fallon and Channing Tatum become Sarah and Susie. Celebrity guests are always welcome to appear in Jimmy Fallon's hilarious routines. This led to many amazing moments, but his collaboration with Channing Tatum is perhaps unforgettable. They looked just like Sarah and Susie and did a fantastic job. Throughout the whole play, Tatum stays true to her character as Susie. He dazzled us with his dance abilities, even doing some Magic Mike routines. We wanted more since Fallon and Tatum had so much chemistry and fun together. Stephen Colbert meets Peter Jackson. Among the hosts who would like to commit fully to his skits is Stephen Colbert. His decision to develop a spin-off series for his character Laketown Spy in The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, was no different. Colbert bought a ticket to New Zealand and went to see Peter Jackson, the director, to make a pitch. Despite not being thrilled with the concept, Jackson consented to go along with Colbert as a sidekick while alluding to Harry Potter. Even Ian McKellen, Viggo Mortensen, and Elijah Woods from The Lord of the Rings appeared in the hilarious farce. Will Ferrell and Chad Smith's drum-off. Many famous lookalikes, such as Amy Adams, Isla Fisher, Zooey Deschanel, and Katy Perry, might pass for twins. The most striking similarity is between Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith and actor Will Ferrell. They both appeared on Jimmy Fallon's program together once, and despite their similar attire, it was difficult to tell them apart. Fortunately, an epic drum-off existed to resolve the dispute. Granted, Ferrell gave Smith a serious competition, but Smith still clearly demolished it. Jennifer Garner gets schooled by Conan. When Jennifer Garner attempted to correct Conan O'Brien, she discovered nobody enjoys a know-it-all. The conversation turned to Gardner's latest film, and O'Brien recalled the moment she snuck into a room. Snuck isn't a word, Conan, and you went to Harvard, and you should know that, the actress swiftly pointed out, calling it sneaked. O'Brien let her savor the moment before taking out a dictionary and looking up the term snuck. Although Gardner was somewhat ashamed, he undoubtedly discovered that a dictionary is an unbeatable opponent. Farrah Fawcett confused David Letterman. You never know what is genuine and what is manufactured on talk programs. Farrah Fawcett's interview with David Letterman serves as the ideal illustration of how this may lead to a great deal of misunderstanding. Letterman was confused by the several nonsensical things Fawcett stated throughout the conversation. She may have been drunk, but it's unclear whether she was being naive to promote her Playboy magazine photo session. Nevertheless, the interview became a historic moment in TV history and likely increased her already enormous reputation. Johnny Carson retires on Letterman. The iconic talk show host Johnny Carson chose to say farewell to David Letterman when he retired and gave Jay Leno The Tonight Show. Carson's acceptance of Letterman's invitation to take the host chair marked the end of an incredible event and fantastic television moment. After a few periods of sitting, Carson stood up and left the stage as the thunderous ovation subsided. "Wow," Letterman said as he concluded the segment. "I wish a little of that would rub off on me. It's still a little warm." Crispen Glover ends the interview with a kick. Unusual late-night interviews were undoubtedly common for David Letterman. He interviewed Crispen Glover, who appeared in the late-night program in a wig, spectacles, and platform shoes. He was fiddling about, babbling on, attempting to read bits and pieces about himself from the newspaper. The excellent host maintained his composure before Glover got to his feet and executed a high kick inches from Letterman's face. Letterman left the stage at this point, saying he had had enough. Even though it was a complete train crash, we couldn't stop watching until the end. Bradley Cooper and Jimmy Fallon's LOLs. Talk show situations when the guest and the presenter lose their composure are hilarious. Bradley Cooper and Jimmy Fallon once appeared on the program to discuss Cooper's Broadway production of The Elephant Man, but they had a hard time staying on the subject because of their irrepressible giggling. They were wearing goofy football visors with wigs attached, so that undoubtedly played a part in it. Fallon lost his balance due to the LOLs, and Cooper had to help him back up. Despite removing their caps, the interview remained lighthearted throughout. Seth Meyers' son's birth story. Once, Seth Meyers' account of the birth of his kid had everyone in stitches. Though his wife should get all the credit, his narration was spot on. In the building lobby, Meyers' spouse gave birth to their son Axel, necessitating the host to call 911. But throughout the minute he was on the line, he said very little. The call went something like this, according to Meyers. "We're about to have a baby. We're having a baby. We had a baby," since everything occurred so quickly.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon